Well, good morning. I want to spend a few minutes with you continuing to reflect on waiting. How much longer will life continue the way it is? How long until we can gather again in what has become, as I look around, a very empty and a very lonely sanctuary? How much longer until the empty tables and empty chairs in our homes can be filled again with friends, with family? How much longer until we can hug one another? These are just some of the many things that we're waiting for. And what does it mean to wait on the Lord? I'm going to continue to share reflections on this that were birthed in the soil of my own waiting for healing and recovery years ago. Reflections also shaped deeply by a sermon from Tim Keller that I listened to again and again as I waited for my own healing. Last time we looked at waiting patiently. This morning I want to invite us to wait prospectively. What does that mean? Habakkuk, we remember, is complaining to God. Everything's going wrong, and he's letting God know it. And God asks him to wait. And so as Habakkuk waits, we read these words, Habakkuk 2, verse 1. I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what God will say to me. Habakkuk goes up into the ramparts. The word literally means tower. You see, cities built towers back then so they could see what was coming. And the higher the tower was, the more you could see. You could see the weather coming. You could see enemies who might be attacking coming. You could see friendly embassies coming and prepare for them to arrive. You could see, you could get perspective. What does it mean when Habakkuk says, I'm waiting on the Lord by going up into the tower? It means not simply looking at our problems. We've got to put our problems in perspective. We have to go into the tower to get perspective while we wait. We have encouragement to do just that from Paul, and Paul helps us get a sense of what it looks like to go into the tower and get perspective when he writes this in Romans 8. I consider, he writes, that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. This word he uses, I consider, it's the word logizomai. It means I add it up. I calculate it. I think it out. I work it out in detail. I think it through. Paul, of course, suffered a lot. Lots of things went wrong in his life. Shipwrecked, left for dead, flogged, imprisoned, betrayed. He had physical problems with his eyes. He suffered all kinds of difficulties and sufferings in his life. And he encourages us. I put it in perspective. My sufferings looked really big, really huge until I started to think it out, until I started to add it up, until I started to compare them with the glory that would be revealed in the end. When Paul was going into the tower, he was looking at the big picture. He was getting perspective. In the past, as I waited for healing, God taught me the importance of going into the tower, of getting perspective. And I began to realize as I went into the tower and compared and thought through and added up my present suffering with the glory that was to be revealed, God began to do something in me. God began to stir deep within me a joy, a longing for eternity. And I began to see that the joy of eternity far outstripped any present suffering. In fact, God gave me an image. I think I picked it up from someone, I can't remember where, but I began to see that all the present suffering was only a small drop in the vast ocean of eternity. When God helped me see that ocean of eternity, it became a lot more bearable to drink this drop in the present moment. And now as we all wait for who knows how long, for who knows what kind of normal to return, let me invite you, let me encourage you to think about that day, that glory that's coming, to meditate on the glory, to meditate on the joy of eternity until the glory and joy of eternity so penetrates your heart and so saturates your soul that you gain perspective on our present suffering. Think and think some more about the glory that's to come until you gain perspective. Go into the tower, add it up, think it through, work it out in detail. This is what it means and looks like to wait. Waiting is not just sitting around. We wait patiently as we humbly give up our own presumed omniscience. We wait prospectively as we go into the tower. We think it through. We cry out, God, give me perspective. I don't know about you, but I'm losing perspective this week. God, help me to go back to that tower. Help me to regain perspective. Help me to compare this present moment with the joy of eternity that awaits. Let me end with another quote from Jay and Catherine Wolfe, their important book, Hope Heals. One day we will see. One day the arc of our stories will all make perfect sense. One day we will trace the lines of our scars and find them to have fallen in the most pleasant of places, to see them in our great inheritance. One day we won't need to hope, nor will we need to be healed, because we will be face to face with the source of both, the source of everything, Jesus. And in the glory of his face, the darkest suffering and loss that we have endured will fade like shadows at daybreak. Until then, the moments of releasing our lives into the hands of a God we cannot see are the closest to wholeness we will come on this side of eternity. This is our truest healing, the healing of our souls, and it sustains us when we wake up tomorrow to an unknown but a hopeful new day. Think deeply about this glory that's to come, and be encouraged as you wait, and go into the tower and wait prospectively. God bless you.